Hello, it's Miss Gina, and we're reading The Strange Things Are Happening in Creepers, The Gravedigger. It's by Edgar J. Hyde, and we're on chapter 8. We read chapter 7 last time. This is an appearance. Jamie Price, will you please pay attention and stop staring out the window? Yelled Jamie's teacher for the 4th time that morning. Jamie always did have trouble concentrating in school, and biology class wasn't any exception. Jamie turned to face his teacher and murmured, "Sorry." His teacher accepted his apology and turned back to the rest of the class. Jamie turned back to the window and looked at the students in the class outside. Jamie was more than a little spooked by what had happened over the past couple of days. Ghosts he could handle, but an evil person like Mr. Krim was a different story. Paula was the same. She told Jamie on the way to school that morning that she was feeling something bad was going to happen. Jamie told her it was just her imagination. But what he didn't tell her was that he had the same feeling. As Jamie watched the students outside, a tall, dark figure on the opposite end of the soccer field caught his eye. As soon as Jamie realized who it was, his blood ran cold. It was Ebenezer Krim. Ebenezer started walking toward Jamie, his evil stare fixed on him. Jamie's heart started to beat faster. He could feel it beating hard inside his chest. He turned to look at his teacher, but she had her back to him and was writing on the board. Jamie looked back at Ebenezer Krim. He was so close that Jamie could see the evil grin on his face. "Jamie Price, for the last time, will you please pay attention?" yelled his teacher at him. This is chapter 8, an appearance. "Please, there's a man looking at me through the window. It's Ebenezer Krim." The rest of Jamie's class gasped out loud. Every other kid in the class knew who Ebenezer Krim was, and so did his teacher. He hurried toward Jamie's desk and stopped when she was beside him. "Where is he, Jamie?" he asked. Jamie turned back to the window, but Ebenezer was gone. "He was just there," said Jamie, pointing to where Mr. Krim had been. "Are you playing a prank, Jamie?" asked his teacher. "No, it's the truth," said Jamie, pleading his innocence. His teacher gave him a look of disbelief. Before walking back to the front of the classroom, Jamie turned and looked back out the window to where he had seen Ebenezer Krim. He was still nowhere to be seen. He was definitely there, Jamie thought. I definitely saw his face. Meanwhile, back at the house, Andrew was busy putting up some shelves in his living room. It had been a quiet morning for him with none of the other ghosts around. They were too busy keeping out of the way in case they saw Ebenezer Krim and his ghost-sucking machine. "Hello there," said a voice behind him. He turned around to see Count Vania floating in the middle of the room. "Hi, Count Vania. Where's the rest of the gang hanging out this morning?" he asked. "I'm not really sure," replied the Count, looking in the opposite direction. "That's strange," thought Jamie's father. "They normally always know where the others are." "I'd like to have a word with you if I could," said Count Vania. "Sure you can," replied Andrew. "What would you like to talk about?" "I'd like to talk about moving," said Count Vania. "I was just wondering if we might be moving again soon." Andrew put down his hammer and turned around to face the Count. "Why?" "To tell the truth, I don't like it here," said the Count. "I think everyone would be a lot happier if we just moved." "This is A little out of character for you, replied Andrew. Normally you settle in quite easily whenever we move. Count Vanya turned his back on Andrew. I just don't like this house. Ever since we moved in, we've had nothing but trouble. Does this have anything to do with Ebenezer Crim? Asked Andrew. The other day, I really thought he was going to hurt me, replied the Count. Jamie's father could see that the Count was not acting at all like his normal self. Why don't you give it a couple more weeks, he suggested, at least until this whole Ebenezer Crim thing dies down a little. Count Vanya turned to look at Andrew, who had started hammering in the shelves again. Before he could answer him, Andrew hit the end of his finger with a hammer, causing it to bleed. "Arr!" Andrew screamed as blood oozed under his fingernail. Are you all right? Asked the Count. Yes, I'm fine, replied Andrew. I just hit it with the hammer, that's all. Well, if you're okay, I'll be on my way, said the Count as he turned and made his way out the door. It wasn't until after he had left that Andrew realized that the Count didn't faint like he normally does when he sees blood. It must just be because he's preoccupied, he thought. He doesn't seem to be his normal self. Outside the door, Count Vanya hovered for a few seconds. Then almost instantly he was gone, and standing in his place was the evil Gravedigger. It wasn't Count Vanya at all. It was the Gravedigger pretending to be him, which was why Count Vanya didn't faint when he saw blood. The Gravedigger looked back through the door at Andrew. One day soon, he thought, I'll get rid of you one way or another. Jamie stood at the school gates waiting for Paula, like he did every day. It wasn't that Paula's classes ended later than Jamie's. She just talked to her friends for much longer. Jamie didn't say much the entire walk home. He was too busy thinking about what happened earlier in his biology class with Ebenezer Crim. But Paula always knew when something was bothering him. What's wrong, Jamie? She asked. Nothing, he replied. Paula was already quite scared of Ebenezer Crim, and Jamie didn't want to make her feel worse. There's obviously something wrong, he said. You've hardly said a word the whole way home, and normally you don't shut up. On any other day, Jamie would have come back at his sister with a funny remark, and there would have been a full-scale joking match, but not today. I said there's nothing wrong with me, he said to her. As they reached the entrance to the graveyard, Jamie turned around once again, saw the chilling figure of Ebenezer Crim coming toward him. Paula, can you see Mr. Crim over there? Jamie said, pointing in his direction. Paula's jaw dropped with fear. Yes, she replied with a shiver. Now Jamie knew he wasn't losing his mind. Ebenezer started to run after them, laughing and screaming to frighten them. Run, Paula, yelled Jamie as he grabbed her arm and began to sprint down the hill to the graveyard, with Mr. Crim chasing him. Help, Dad! Paula was screaming as they made it to the back gate. Andrew came running from the house. What's the matter? He shouted as he ran toward them. Ebenezer Crim is chasing us, yelled Jamie as he slammed the gate closed behind him. But just like in biology class, as Jamie turned around, Ebenezer was gone. I can't see him anywhere, said Andrew. Are you sure it was him? Yes, he was there, replied Jamie. Asked Paula. Both of them turned to ask Paula, but by now, Paula was already inside, looking back at them from the kitchen window. Jamie, there's no one there, added his father. I'm telling you, Dad, he was right there, said Jamie, trying to convince him. Andrew turned to Jamie. Calm down, Jamie. He's gone. There's no one there. The chances are he never was there. You probably just saw a shadow. As Andrew put his arm around Jamie and walked him inside the house, Jamie knew there was no way he was going to convince his dad that Ebenezer Crim was chasing him. When they reached the back door, Jamie looked over his shoulder towards where Ebenezer Crim had been. There was no one there. Next time we'll be on chapter 9. I hope you're getting scared. Or maybe not. Maybe you don't believe he's there either. So I'll see you next time for chapter 9. Have a great Halloween. Bye-bye.